Thank you very much, Ariana. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Secretary of State Jesse White, I'd like to welcome you to the Rules of the Road Review course. This is a free class brought to you by the Secretary of State's office to help you pass your driver's license renewal. I will go through all the required testing with you, answer any questions that you might have, and share some very important information about some of the services we provide that are important to you. I will also give you a preview of what you can expect when you come to the facility to renew your driver's license. A couple of new developments in the last couple days in terms of expiration dates. Secretary of State has extended all expiration dates to November 1st. So if you expire between now or you are expired between now until September 30th, you have until November 1st. So you don't really have to worry about it. So you've got some time. Let me move over to the testing. There are three parts to the renewal process. First part is vision. Everybody that comes in has to take a vision. However, another new recent development from just a day or two ago, Secretary of State is waiving all vision exams for everybody under 75 until November 1st. So there will not be any vision testing in the facility for anyone under 75 until November 1st. If you're over 75, you're coming in for a road test, you will have to take a vision exam, which I will talk about a little bit later and go through it. Okay. Second thing is written test. Everybody wants to know if they have to take a written test. There's two ways to get a written test. The first and the most common one is based on your driving record. And what that means is if you have not had any moving violations since your last renewal, then you won't have to take a written test. Now, if you have had a moving violation, and what I mean by that is a speeding ticket, maybe an accident, you run a red light, you get pulled over, you get a ticket, you pay the fine, that would then, that goes down as a conviction, and then that would come back to us, and that would require a written test. So it's really based on your driving record. The other way that you could be required to take a written test is the Secretary of State do a random draw, a random 2% draw of all the licensed drivers in Illinois. So there is a chance there that you could get called. The way I look at it, there's a 98% chance that you won't. So those are pretty good odds, but we do a random draw and you could get called that way. So, okay, so that's how the written test works. And the last part is the road exam. In Illinois, when you reach the age of 75, a road test is required. So I'm gonna go through all of that. I will be going through the written test as well. I will go through step by step through the road test, so you'll know exactly what to expect when you go out there to take your test. Next thing I want to talk about is early renewal. Early renewal is something we started quite a few years ago, which allows you to renew 12 months in advance of your birthday. A good example of it is today is July 28th. If your birthday was today and you expire next July 28th, you could go as early as tomorrow to renew your driver's license. It has to be within 365 days. But why is that important? Okay, well, I go all over the place, do a lot of classes, a lot of seniors, and a lot of times people aren't here. A lot of the seniors are retired and they're not always here during the winter. So you can, you can renew your driver's license well in advance. For example, let's say you know you're not going to be here in December and January and February, and your license is coming due in February. Well, you could do it now, or prior to when you leave. So it's nice little convenience. You don't have to worry about it. You have plenty of time in advance to do it. So that's a nice thing about early renewal. Next thing is facilities. Now, you guys are down there in Orland Park. Probably the best facility for you would be Bridgeview. It's not exactly close, but it's one of the closer ones, one of the better ones. Midlothian is closed right now till August 5th. That's a little bit of a stretch. And I mean, there are others. That would be the closest. But, as I tell everybody, you could go to any facility that you want as long as it's full service. All the facilities are all listed in the back of the green workbook, which we'll be getting to in a few minutes. Next thing is, how much will I have to pay? If you're 21 to 68, the fee for a driver's license is $30. And it's the renewal is for 4 years. Now here's where it really drops off. If you're 69 to 80, the fee drops down to $5, and the renewal is still for 4 years. If you're 81 to 86, the renewal fee is $2, but the renewal is only 2 years. So it drops down a couple of years. And if you're 87 and above, there is no charge, but you have to come in every year, and you can renew 6 months in advance, but you do have to come in every year. So that's how the fees, that's what you'd have to pay when you come in. Okay, now the next thing is when you come to the DMV, one thing I do want to caution you right now is because of the COVID-19 and all the stuff that's been happening, we are very, very backed up right now. So the lines are very, very long. If you can hold off for a while, I would urge you to do that. If not, you could take a chance, drive over there, see how it looks, but it's going to be that way for a while. So keep that in mind. When you do come in to check in, first thing you're going to do is, let them know why you're there. It's usually driver's license renewal. Next thing, next question from them is whether your address is the same. It's very, very important. They should ask you that when you come in. So if your address has changed, bring us a piece of mail. It's very important because we mail everything now. So if you give us the wrong address, it's going to go to that address, and and it's just going to bounce back to us. If you're not there, it'll force you to come in again. So bring a gas bill, electric bill. You can bring a bank statement, a voter's card, anything from Social Security. Utility bills always work very, very well. Homeowners insurance, stuff like that. Bank statements are pretty easy. One thing, bring it with you. We'll update the address to make sure that it gets to your residence, okay? Next thing is state ID cards. We issue lifetime ID cards to everybody over 65. If you're there, please ask for one. It's a nice thing to have. It gives you a second form of identification. We're basically giving it to you, so we want you to have it. They'll give you 2 forms of ID. This way you can, instead of having to use your license every time you're asked for identification, you can use your ID card. They're the same thing. The only thing you can't do with an ID card is drive on it. Also, if you're out, if you lose the ID card, not a problem. You come back in, we'll give you another one. One of the other reasons is a lot of seniors decide at some point that they're not going to drive anymore, so they let the license expire. Now you have your ID card to fall back on. So, and the third reason is there are a lot of people out there who don't drive. So that ID card becomes their primary form of identification. So please get it when you're there. We want everybody to have one. Uh, they may ask you, they may not ask them for one when you get there if you're over 65. Okay. The next thing is you'll get a ticket. Everybody that comes to the DMV gets a ticket for different things, A, B, C, D, depending on what they're going to be doing. You're going to get a D ticket, a senior ticket, which will put you in a different line and should move things a lot faster. So you'll get a D ticket. You'll be asked to take a seat and wait until the public service rep calls your number. When that happens, there are a couple of required questions that they have to ask you. The first one is, are you a registered voter? Most people are, but if you're not, you can do it right there. We'll print the form for you. You can sign it. We'll send it to elections for you. Then you'll get your voter's card in the mail. Also, this is why address change is so important, because also we can give, put the correct address on your voter registration, so it has the right information when the voter registration card comes. So that's the first question. Second one is two-part, a couple medical questions. Do you have any medical condition that could cause you to lose consciousness? It's a yes or no. Sometimes certain medication can do that, or people who are diabetic, that's something that, can happen to them. It's a yes or no. If you're having a problem with either of these, things, then you probably should get in to see a doctor. The other medical question is, do you have any medical condition that would cause you to, or could affect your ability to safely drive a car? Again, it's just, it's yes or no. If you're having problems, you're not feeling well, please get in and see the doctor before you get behind the wheel of a car. Last question is organ donor. Big popular program here in the state of Illinois that was started by Secretary Jesse White. This is very dear to him, and we want everybody who wants to participate to please participate. It's very easy. You can do it right there. You can sign up right there. And, or if you want to think about it and do it later, you can do it that way. Sometimes it's hard to make a decision right there. It's an important decision to make. So if you need a little time, take a little time. Remember that one person can affect up to 25 people. So it's a very important program that helps a lot of people. Okay, last thing before you go out to do your road exam is the vision screen that I talked about earlier. Again, it's been extended for people under 74 or under 75 to November 1st. Anybody over 75 will have to do it. And of course, if you're coming in for a road test, you are 75, so you will have to take it. It's not hard, very easy. All we do is we measure for distance and side to side, peripheral. So if you drove here today and you saw the road pretty clearly, you're in good shape. You shouldn't have any problem. If you've been having some trouble lately with your vision, maybe it's changed, maybe it's time to get in and see your eye doctor, have him check you out. If you're a little nervous about taking an eye exam with us, there's a form in the green workbook on page 23. It's called the Vision Specialist Report. You can take that to your doctor, have him fill it out. It's good for 6 months. He's going to check you out a heck of a lot better than we do. Maybe you need new glasses, or maybe you need glasses for nighttime driving, whatever it is. You can do that at the eye doctor, and not, if you bring the form in, not have to take the eye exam with us. I know some seniors get a little nervous, but again, it's pretty easy. Nothing close. It's all about distance and side to side. So that's how the vision screen works. The next thing is you will pay your fee, and then you'll be asked to bring your car around to the test area. Okay. Now you're in your car, you're pulling up into the test area. Now let's start the road test. Driving examination. The driving exam is a demonstration of a driver's everyday driving skills. After the exam, the driver will be informed of any corrections that need to be made. Before you begin, Illinois law requires all drivers and passengers to wear safety belts regardless of where they sit in a vehicle. Only those individuals with physician statement on letterhead are exempt. Physician statement must be kept with the driver at all times. The driving examination will allow you to demonstrate your ability to safely operate a motor vehicle. You must provide a vehicle that is licensed and properly equipped for the driver's license classification you are seeking. The vehicle must be driven to the driver's service facility by someone with a valid driver's license or permit. No one but the examiner will be with you during the exam. Proof of insurance must be shown before the driving exam is administered. Before starting the driving exam, check your mirrors, adjust your vehicle seat, and fasten your safety belt. Very important. If you're going to come into a road test, please have your insurance card. If you don't have it, you won't be able to take the test. When you're in your line at the testing area, examiner will come and meet you. They will check the car out, make sure turn signals, brake lights are working, tires are properly inflated, headlights, things like that, seat belts. So make sure everything is in working order before you start your driving test. Okay, next thing, the examiner the driving examiner will sit and observe your driving skills. It is normal for you to be a little nervous. Remember that the examiner is a passenger and has no indication of your driving ability. It is possible that you may have acquired some potentially unsafe driving practices, even though you may have been driving for years with no moving violations or accidents. Perhaps there are some new laws you are not observing. Purpose of the driving exam is to identify those mistakes so you may correct them. The examiner will grade you using a list of driving maneuvers. The examiner will follow a test route approved by the Secretary of State's office. Although the test route may cover unfamiliar roads, it is important to remember that a driver's license gives you the right to drive on all roads. The examiner will not trick you. If you do not understand his or her instructions, please ask for an explanation. Very important. If you don't understand what they want you to do, please ask. Don't go ahead and just do something. Remember, this is a driving examination. You got somebody sitting next to you, so wait until they tell you what they want you to do. At the completion of your driving exam, the examiner will give you the results. Please keep in mind that the examiner is only an observer and has a responsibility to inform you of any mistakes. You are encouraged to correct those mistakes, not only for your own safety, but for the safety of others. Driving exam grading. You will be graded on your ability to perform the following driving skills. You will automatically fail the exam if you violate any traffic law or commit any dangerous action while taking the exam. So here we go. You're in your car. The examiner is now next to you, and you're going to get ready to pull out of the facility. Leaving the parking lot or driveway, Illinois law states, so now you're leaving the facility, leaving a parking lot or driveway. Illinois law states that you must stop before entering any street from a driveway, parking lot, or alley. If you are leaving the parking lot at the driver's service facility, You must stop before entering the street. There may or may not be a stop sign present. Using turn signals. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. There we go. Using turn signals. Top of the page there. Illinois law requires the use of turn signals. It is not a choice. Turn signals are required before turning any corner, even if no one is coming, turning into any driveway, parking lot, or parking space, changing lanes of traffic, and after passing another vehicle, and pulling over to or pulling away from any curb. Middle of the page, stopping. Stop behind the white line or crosswalk. If there is no white line or crosswalk, stop before entering the intersection. Rolling stops are automatic failures on the driving exam. So when you come to a stop, you want to come to a complete stop, and you want to be several feet behind the line. Turning a corner. When turning a corner from a two-way street onto another two-way street, stay in your own lane and then turn into the lane in which you will be driving. Do not cut corners. Hill parking. We don't have a lot of hills here, but you may find yourself in a situation somewhere where you have to park in an area that has a lot of hills, either up or down. Hill parking. Signal toward the side of the road where you wish to park. Stop your vehicle parallel to the road within 12 inches of the curb or road edge. If you park on a street with curbing, your vehicle is heading downhill, you must turn the front wheels toward the curb. If you park on a vehicle headed uphill, you must turn your front wheels away from the curb. If you park on a street without curbing and your vehicle is heading downhill or uphill, you must turn the wheels toward the side of the road in which you are parked. In either situation, you must set the parking brake and put the gear selector in park. So for this, I know that most of us don't use the emergency parking brake, but I would for this. If you were in a situation like this, if you've ever been to San Francisco or parts of California where it's very, very steep, that's probably what you would do. You park, you would not only put your car in park, you would put it the emergency brake on. So I would do it for this. If it doesn't work for some reason, you could tell the examiner. You won't be penalized for that. So, okay, when leaving the curb, release your parking brake, turn the wheels from the side of the road, and use your turn signal. Look for oncoming traffic. When it is safe, pull slowly onto the street. Turnabout. You will be asked to turn your vehicle around by turning left into an alley, roadway, or driveway. Be sure to signal before turning. When you back out, stop before entering the sidewalk, street, or highway. Yield to pedestrians and all vehicles. When backing, check all rear view mirrors and look over your right shoulder. When backing to the right, make sure you do not back over the center line. If you have a driveway, this is probably what you're doing when you're backing out of your driveway. When you go shopping to the mall, you're doing the same thing. You're backing out. You always want to check for oncoming cars and pedestrians. One-way turns. When turning onto a one-way street, turn into the first lane you come to. After you've completed your turn, you may turn on your turn signal again, look back, and then when it is safe, move over to the other lane. Well, we don't, there are only certain parts of the state where we actually see one-way streets. Of course, Chicago, places like Joliet, Rockford. Now, a good example of this particular maneuver is, let's say you were downtown heading east on a one-way street. What it's saying here is this allows you to turn on a one-way street moving traffic to the left, even when the light is red. Same thing we've been doing for many years from the other side, where it allows us to turn on red, unless of course there's a sign there telling you not to. But we've been turning on red for a long, long time. This is just the opposite of that, but you're just doing it from the other side. You're turning off of one-way street onto another way street. We just don't see it a real lot as much as we do the other thing, but that's what it is. Nothing hard about it. But that's the one-way turn onto a one-way street. Multiple lane turns. When making a left-hand turn onto a multi-lane street, you must turn into the inside lane, the left-hand lane. After you've completed your turn into the inside lane, it is safe to do so. You may turn on your signal light and move into the right-hand lane. When making a right-hand turn onto a multi-lane street, you must turn into the first lane you come to, the right-hand lane. After you have completed your turn into the right-hand lane, and it is safe to do so, you may turn on your signal light and move into the left-hand lane. This is something we all do all day long. Every time you're out there, you make a turn onto a two-way street. You always want to turn into the nearest lane when you make that turn. I know a lot of people like to shoot out right away and get into the left lane. It's not the best way to do it. It's not the safest way to do it, but for this, because it is a road exam, you want to make sure you're turning in to the nearest lane. And then when it's clear, you can move over to the next lane. Backing the vehicle. You'll be asked to back your vehicle for a short distance. Check first to see if it is clear. Look over your right shoulder if possible. If not, inform the examiner that because of a physical condition, you cannot. If you cannot see all the way in back by looking, use your rear view mirror as well as your side mirrors. Back up as straight as you can. Do not weave back and forth. You probably back up about 40 or 50 feet. Just make sure your wheels are straight. You can use your rear view mirrors or your backup camera, or you can turn around. That's something I prefer. I like to turn around when I'm backing up. Either way is fine. It's only for a short distance. Okay, other points that will be checked. Driving speed. Observe all speed limit signs. Do not drive too slowly. Example, if the speed limit is 30 miles an hour and the driver is going 15, holding up traffic and causing an unsafe situation. Driving too slow can be just as dangerous as speeding under normal traffic conditions. Very, very important. I think for a lot of years, people thought that by driving slow, they were driving safer. It's not true, especially now with all the drivers we have right now. We have to have people really aware when they're out there. Stay close to those speed limits. If you get one person out in front driving too slow, it can back up traffic for miles because traffic is merging every second. There's traffic everywhere coming in. So you get somebody out there going way too slow. I live in the city where I see that a lot, where it gets backed up because somebody out in front is driving too slow. So please stay as close to the speed limit as you possibly can, not only for this test, but even when you're out, in your day-to-day driving. Center lines. Do not weave back and forth across the center line. Stay in your traffic lane. If there is no center line, do not drive down the middle of the street or road. Right of way. Observe yield signs. When approaching a yield sign, slow down and check for traffic. Stop if you need to. Approaching an intersection, when a green light appears, be sure the intersection is clear of vehicles and people before moving your car. If there are no signs or traffic control signals and two vehicles arrive at the same time, the car on the right has the right of way. It's always been that way, and it still is. If you arrive at the same time, the person on the right has the right of way. Okay, following the exam, when you return to the driver service facility, examiner will discuss your test results. If you do not pass the driving exam, listen carefully to hear which driving skills you need to correct. If for some reason you did not pass, I would be very surprised, especially after going through it and kind of knowing in advance what to expect. But all the examiners are different. If you did not pass, they will explain to you what you did wrong, and you could come back the next day and retest. Okay, so again, you may take the driving exam if you did not pass. if you should fail the exam after 6 attempts, the examiner will provide you with a medical report to be filled out by doctor. If after several attempts you are still having difficulty, the examiner will ask the examiner how to obtain an instruction permit after your driver's license expires. Okay, it's really broken out into 3. When you pay your fee, you get 3 chances. That should be more than enough. Usually when it gets to that 4th and 5th attempt and there's a problem, we're doing everything we can to try to pass this person, but we can't because either there's something physically wrong or something mentally wrong or both. Doctors get involved and we just can't do it. But you do get 6 tries, which is a lot. So you know that going in. So that is the driving exam, the road exam. You'll be in the car for about 17 to 20 minutes, mostly residential driving. Most of these are all basic skills, so you're not going to be asked to do anything you haven't done many, many, many times. Just remember, you've got somebody sitting next to you, so make sure that you're using those turn signals, making those complete stops, and just following instructions. Okay, so that is the road exam. Next thing I want to do before I talk about the written test, there's a couple things I want to talk about. Over here on page 14. Not everything, but some things on these pages. Top of the page, pedestrians. Drivers and pedestrians are responsible for traffic safety. Drivers should always be prepared to yield the right of way and should not drive unnecessarily close to pedestrians. Down the page, pedestrians with disabilities. When approaching a pedestrian with a disability who is utilizing a guide dog, a white cane, a wheelchair, or other assistive device on a sidewalk or roadway, the pedestrian has the right of way and is granted the same rights as any pedestrian. Joggers and walkers. Joggers and walkers should use jogging paths when provided. On public roads, joggers and walkers should try to select wide roads with good shoulders. They should face oncoming traffic and remember to look and listen for cars at night or anytime visibility is poor. Joggers and walkers should be in well-lighted areas and wear reflective clothing. We all know that they don't always do that. Sometimes they sneak up on you, don't even see them. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you where they just all of a sudden you're at a stop sign or stoplight and you're getting ready to move and you look to your right and there he is and you don't even know where he came from, but they can sneak up and you have to be aware of them when you're out there. Motorcycles. Motorcycle riders have the same rights and responsibilities as other roadway users. Because of their size and vulnerability in a crash, it is important to pay special attention to motorcycles. Bicycles. On most roadways, bicyclists, including those on electric bikes, have the same rights and responsibility as other roadway users. The following are important laws and safety tips regarding bicyclists. Bicyclists are prohibited on limited access highways, expressways, and certain other marked roadways. Bicyclists are required to travel in the same direction as vehicles. Bicyclists should travel just to the right of faster moving traffic. However, certain hazards such as rough surfaces, debris, drainage grates, or narrow traffic lane may require bike riders to move toward the center of the lane. Drivers must yield the right of way to a bicyclist just as they would to another vehicle. When passing a bicyclist, motorists must do so slowly and leave at least 3 feet of passing space. Crowding or threatening a bicyclist is prohibited. A motorist should not park or drive in marked bicycle lanes. Be very careful with this. I live in the city, and these marked bicycle lanes are all over the place. And I have been seeing quite a few in the suburbs and even in some outlying areas marked off. Don't drive in those lanes. Those are very expensive tickets. They're marked off for a reason. They're only for bicycles. So just want to warn you about that. You don't want to get caught in one of those. Very expensive ticket. Okay, when following bicyclists, give them plenty of room and be prepared to stop quickly. Use extra caution during rainy and icy weather. At night, do not use high beams when you see an oncoming bicycle rider. After parking and before opening vehicle doors, a motorist should first check for bicyclists. When a motorist is turning left and there is a bicyclist entering the intersection from the opposite direction, the driver should wait for the bicyclist to pass before making the turn. Also, if a motorist is sharing the left-hand turn with a bicyclist, stay behind them until they have safely completed their turn. If a motorist is turning right and a bicyclist is approaching on the right, let the bicyclist go through the intersection first before making the right turn. Remember to always signal when turning. Okay, now I'd like to move to the written test. And let me explain to you how the written test works. The written test is divided into two parts. The first part is 15 signs, followed by 20 multiple choice questions. We'll get to those in a few minutes. For a total of 35 questions, you have to get at least 80%, so you can't get more than 7 wrong. Let's start with the signs. I'm going to go right through it. The answers to all of these are in back of the workbook. So let me start on the top of page 13 here. The first one, A, the correct answer is number 19, stop. It's all in the back of the book. Next one, B, correct answer is number 1, winding road ahead. C is no right turn, number 8. D is yield right of way, number 24. E is school zone and crossing, number 15. F is warning of a change in direction, number 23. G is railroad warning, number 12. H is no passing zone, number 7. I is persons with disabilities parking, number 11. J is divided highway, number 3. K is crossroad, number 2. L is slippery when wet, number 17. M is downgrade, number 5. N is merge, number 6. O is pedestrian crossing, number 10. P is road construction and maintenance, number 14. Q is do not enter, number 4. R is no U-turn, number 9. S is traffic signal ahead, number 21. T is slow-moving traffic, number 18. U is side road, number 16. V is two-way traffic, number 22. W is reduction in lanes, number 13. And the last one, X, is stop sign ahead number 20. So this is the sign part. Again, these are 24 of the most common signs that we see. These are the ones you should know as a licensed driver in the state of Illinois. They're out there for a reason. They're out there to help you, to guide you, to warn you of things that are coming. On the test, they will take 15 randomly out of this group. So this is the sign part. Now let's move over to the multiple choice. These are sample questions. Some of the questions will be taken from this group. They'll be similar. A lot of them will not be the same. This is a sample. Gives you an idea of what to expect. Again, this is a general knowledge thing. As we go through this, this is the stuff that you should know as a licensed driver in Illinois. Most of it you are going to know. So let's go through it and put you through the test here and see how many you can get correctly. Let's start with number 1. Cell phone use while driving is permitted as long as the driver is using a hands-free device. Correct answer is number 1. Again, these answers are in the back of the green workbook. Number 2, Illinois law requires children under the age of 8 to be secured by a restraining system or seat belt when traveling anywhere in the vehicle. Correct answer is A. 3, a parent or legal guardian may request that the driver's license of a minor be canceled at any time prior to the age of 18. That's true. 4, when passing another vehicle, a driver should wait until the entire car being passed is visible in the rearview mirror before turning back into the right-hand lane. That is true. 5, after making a complete stop and yielding to traffic or pedestrians within the intersection, it is permissible for drivers on a one-way street to turn left at a red light onto another one-way street that moves traffic to the left. Remember, we talked about that just a few minutes. Left turn on red. Number 6, how should a driver proceed if within an intersection waiting to make a left turn and the traffic signal light turns red? B, yield to oncoming traffic and complete the turn. 7, when on a 2-lane roadway, drivers must stop their vehicle if approaching a stopped school bus with its red warning lights flashing and stop signal arm extended. True. Number 8, when an authorized vehicle is using its sirens and flashing lights, approaches a vehicle, the driver should pull to the right-hand edge of the roadway and wait for the emergency vehicle to pass. True. 9, your driving privileges will be suspended if you are convicted of illegally passing a stopped school bus. Very true. It's also a very, very expensive fine. Number 10, driver may pass another vehicle by driving on the shoulder of the road. False. 11, it is permissible to make a right turn against a red signal light after stopping and yielding to other vehicles and pedestrians. True. 12, a driver must give the right or left turn signal when changing lanes. True. 13, in urban areas, drivers moving out of an alley, building, private roadway, or driveway do not need to come to a complete stop before entering the roadway if the roadway is clear of traffic. False. You have to stop and check first. 14, for what distance should a continuous turn signal be given when making a left or right-hand turn in a business or residential district? C, not less than 100 feet before turning. When waiting at an intersection and a traffic signal turns green, a driver should look to the left and right before proceeding into the intersection. That is true. Just a quick reminder here on this. When you're at an intersection, and it happens to everybody, sometimes you're waiting at the light and you're getting ready to go, and you know, a lot of these suburban areas, the lights are longer, and you're waiting for the people to come to a complete stop. Sometimes they don't, and some people stop, some go through. Stay back for a couple seconds before you leave that intersection. It's not worth a couple seconds, especially with with so many drivers out there, everybody's in a hurry. Sometimes they look like they're going to stop, and they have plenty of time to stop, but they decide to go through. So keep that in mind when you're out there, to hold back a couple of seconds and make sure everybody comes to a stop before you proceed. 16, what should drivers do when approaching a construction area? B, slow down, stop all wireless telephone communications, and yield the right of way. 17, drivers are not required to yield to pedestrians in a crosswalk. False. 18, it is permissible for anyone to wear a headset while driving. False. 19, speed limit should be reduced to below the posted speed limit for which of the following reasons? C, when the driver is driving in unfavorable weather conditions and when the driver is approaching and crossing an intersection. 20, slow-moving vehicles should use the right-hand lane except when passing or making a left-hand turn. That's true. 21, when must a driver slow down for a school zone on school days between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. when children are present and signs are posted? Probably a good idea to slow down anytime you get anywhere around a school. Why take a chance? There's always stuff going on at the school, even after school into the evening. So why take a chance? Slow down. 22, when parked, drivers may open their car doors on the side which traffic is moving only when it can be done safely and without interfering with traffic. I know I mentioned this before. One of the things you should be doing is checking your you're checking your side mirror before you get out of the car. Forgot to mention that. Should always be doing that. Check your side mirror before you exit the car to make sure there are no joggers or bicyclists or coming through, or even a car maybe driving a little too slow or a little too close in the right lane. In either case, you want to make sure that it's clear, because if you open the car on them, it's going to be your fault. One other, I want you to also make a note on this particular question. There is, I don't know if anybody is familiar, maybe you are, with the Dutch reach method. This is something that started in the Netherlands a few years ago, and it was started out there because they had so many bicycle riders that were having doors opened on them because people were not looking before they got out of the car, and they call it dooring. It was actually signed into law here in 2018 by then Governor Rauner, the Dutch reach method. It's now required in all driver education courses, and it's now in our written test. It's not reflected here. It's not reflected here in this book, but you should know what it is. I know I've said a lot about it. Here's all you have to do to remember the Dutch reach method. And the only thing it means is you're going to reach with the opposite hand to open the door. That's it. Now we usually open the door with our left hand. With the Dutch reach method, you're opening a door with the opposite hand. Forces someone to look out at the mirror and make sure nobody is coming. So that's it. Opposite hand. Same thing with the passenger. Instead of opening the car door with the right hand, they would then reach across, open it with their left hand. That's all it is. So you know what it is. There is a question on that. 23, it is permissible to pass on a two-way roadway within 100 feet of an intersection or railroad crossing. False. 24, only vehicles displaying special plates or parking placards for persons with disabilities may park in spaces reserved for them by an official parking for persons with disabilities sign. True. 25, unless authorized to do so, drivers may not break into the line of a funeral procession. That's true. 26, when a motorist is turning right and a bicyclist approaching on the right, the motorist must allow the bicyclist to go through the intersection first before making the turn. Oh. Sorry, folks, I forgot to turn the page. Oh, boy. All right, let's go. I'm sorry. Let's go back to 15. I forgot to turn the page. Let's go back to 15 real quick. When waiting at an intersection, traffic signal light turns, a driver should look to the left and then to the right before proceeding in an intersection. That is true. 16, what should drivers do when approaching a construction area? B, slow down, stop all wireless telephone communications, yield the right of way. 17, drivers are not required to yield to pedestrians in a crosswalk. That's false. 18, it is permissible for anyone to wear a headset while driving. False. 19, speed should be reduced below the posted speed limit. For which of the following reasons? C, both of the above. When a driver is driving in unfavorable weather conditions, when a driver is approaching and crossing an intersection. 20, slow-moving vehicles should use the right-hand lane except when passing or making a left-hand turn. That's true. 21, when must a driver slow down? For a school zone A, on school days between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. when children are present and signs are posted. As I said, mentioned, it's not a bad idea to always slow down when you're near the school. 22, when parked, drivers may open their car doors on the side and which traffic is moving only when it can be done safely and without interfering with cars. Remember to look before you open the car door to make sure nobody's coming. I talked to you about the Dutch reach method and what it is. 23, it is permissible to pass on a two-lane, two-way roadway within 100 feet of an intersection or railroad crossing. 24, only vehicles displaying special parking placards for persons with disabilities may park in spaces reserved for them by official parking for persons with disabilities sign. That's true. 25, unless authorized to do so, drivers may not break into the line of a funeral procession. 26, when a motorist is turning right and a bicyclist is approaching on the right, the motorist must allow the bicyclist to go through the intersection first before making the turn. 27, a driver does not need to allow as much distance when following a motorcycle as when following a car. That is false. They get the same amount of distance. 28, motorcyclists are entitled to use the full width of the traffic lane. Therefore, a driver should pass a motorcycle the same way as passing another vehicle. That's true. 29, when following a vehicle at night, it is important to dim your high beams. That is true. 29, when following a vehicle at night, it is important, oh, I'm sorry, okay. 30, when approaching a disabled pedestrian using a guide dog, white cane, or other assistive device, drivers should yield the right of way. That's true. Question 31, if arrested with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08 or more, an individual's driving privileges will be suspended for at least 6 months. That's true. 32, alcohol is the greatest single factor in fatal motor vehicle crashes. That's true. 33, what is the only effective way to remove alcohol from the body? B, time. 34, if a driver is arrested for DUI and refuses to submit to testing, driving privileges will be suspended for 12 months. That's true. 35, a driver whose license has been revoked as a result of DUI must meet several requirements, including an evaluation for alcohol and drug problems and paying a reinstatement fee to regain his or her license. Average cost of DUI in the state of Illinois is right around $11,000. So not a good state to get a DUI. Very strict laws here. 36, it is illegal for persons under the age of 21 to drive with any trace of alcohol or drugs in their system. That's true. 36, it is illegal for persons under the age of, 37, I'm losing it today. 37, regardless of fault, a crash report must be filed by the driver of a vehicle if the crash involves death, bodily injury, or property damage of more than $1,500 or more than $500 if the vehicle is uninsured. 38, before a driver can regain driving privileges after losing them for failure to pay for damages caused by a crash, the driver must file proof of financial responsibility with the Secretary of State's office. 39, if you are involved in a traffic crash, you should stop your vehicle in a safe, well-lighted public place that does not obstruct traffic if able to do so. That's true. 40, driving privileges may be revoked for giving false information to the Secretary of State. True. 41, what should a driver do when approaching a traffic control signal that is not in operation? Correct answer is A, come to a full stop and yield the right-of-way before entering the intersection. 42, if a traffic light shows both a red light and a green arrow at the same time, a driver may not turn in the direction of the arrow until the red light is changed. That's false. As soon as the green light appears, you are good to turn. 43, drivers may pass on a two-lane roadway marked with a single solid yellow line on their side of the center line. That is false. 44, a railroad crossing sign should be treated the same as a yield sign. True. 45, all vehicles are required to stop within how many feet of the nearest rail of a railroad crossing when a train is approaching? A, between 15 and 50 feet. 46, when approaching a railroad crossing that has no warning signals such as electric flashing lights or gates, a driver should look, listen, and slow down. That's true. 47, after a train clears a crossing that has flashing signals, drivers may proceed after checking for a second train on another track. 47, after a train clears a crossing that has flashing signals, drivers may proceed after checking for a second train on another track and lights have stopped flashing. That's true. 48, if moving with the stream of vehicles across a railroad track, it is safe to stop on the track for a short period of time. False. 49, the road surface of a bridge may be dangerous in winter due to becoming icy while the rest of the roadway remains clear. True. 50, when driving in fog, a driver should turn on the high beam headlights to increase the field of vision. That's false. 51, most rear-end collisions are caused by a vehicle in back following too closely. That is true. Please allow enough distance between you and the guy in front of you. If you run into them, it's going to be your fault. So it's always kind of been that way, and it still is. You'll be ticketed for driving too close. So please allow enough room when you're out there. 52, the 3-second rule helps the driver determine a safe following distance. That is true. I don't know how many people use it. It's usually something you would use at higher speeds. And basically what it is you measure the distance between you and the car in front of you by using something off the side of the road, maybe a billboard or a bridge. And when that driver in front of you reaches that marking, that billboard or bridge or whatever you decided to use, you should be able to count to 3 before you reach the same marking. So that's the 3-second rule. I don't know how many people use it, but you certainly want to allow as much room as you can between yourself and the person in front of you. 54, if the front right wheel of a vehicle runs off the pavement, a driver should ease 53, if a vehicle starts to skid on water or hydroplane, the driver should quickly apply the brakes. That's false. 54, if the front right wheel of a vehicle runs off the pavement, a driver should ease off the accelerator, allow the vehicle to slow down, and gently steer back onto the pavement. That's true. 55, drivers who become stranded in blizzard conditions should remain in their vehicles. That's true. This is when you really want to have a cell phone. This is where it really comes in handy. if you happen to be stranded out there. 56, when experienced a tire blowout, the driver should immediately apply the brakes and quickly pull off the side of the road. That's false. 57, if a vehicle starts to skid, the driver should apply the brakes and steer in the opposite direction of skid. That's false. 58, Illinois law requires that headlights be on when atmospheric conditions require the use of windshield wipers. True. 59, after being pulled over by law enforcement, a driver should immediately exit the vehicle and quickly approach the officer's squad car. No, that's false. You don't want to do that. 60, within how many feet is the driver required to dim the high beams before meeting another vehicle? C, 500 feet. 61, taillights are not required to be illuminated after dark. That is false. And the last question, 62, your car must have a horn that can be heard from a distance of 200 feet. That's true. I'd like you to add something here. If you have, hopefully you have a pen in front of you. There is another question that has now been added that is not in this exercise here. It's pretty easy. And the question is, what kind of driver's license classification do most of us in this state have? And the correct answer is D. It's a D license. That's the basic standard driver's license in Illinois. That's what most of us get. The other one would be a commercial driver's license, a C license. There are various kinds of commercial license. And then the other one would be an M license to drive a motorcycle. So, but the one you have to remember is that we all have standard basic driver's license, which is a D license. Okay, so that is the multiple choice section of the written test. Again, it would take 20 questions randomly out of this whole group. Some would be similar, some will be very different. Total of 35 questions. Again, you can get up to 7 wrong, which is quite a bit. So, yeah. So, one more thing. Got a couple more things before we close. I'd like to talk for a minute about placards. I want you to be to know how to get one if you want one. Maybe you have a friend or somebody at home, or I want you to know how to get one if you want one. These are really nice to have. Start on the top of page 20. I just want to read a couple paragraphs here. Parking program for persons with disabilities. The Office of the Secretary of State issues persons with disability license plates and parking placards to those who qualify under the Vehicle Code's definition for persons with disabilities and the Illinois Identification Card Act. Application to receive persons with disability license plates or a parking placard. An application must be completed by the applicant by his or her physician. Licensed physician must certify on the application that the applicant has one of the qualifying disabilities. This is pretty easy. The form is in this green workbook on page 21. All you have to do is take this to your doctor. If you qualify, he can fill this out. There's 4 different placards. You got the meter exempt one. That's for people that are severely handicapped and who cannot walk at all. That's the meter exempt one. The most common one is the blue, the permanent one. That's the most common one people get. There's temporary and there's an organization one. All you have to do, have the doctor fill it out. There's an address on here that you can mail it to us or have them mail it, or you can mail it yourself. Placards are good for 4 years. After you send it in, you should see it in about 4 or 5 weeks. The other thing of note is the placard is great because it's assigned to you personally, so it's good anywhere you go, anywhere in this country. but you have to be in the car. You have to exit the car. You come back to the car. No shortcuts. So I know some people, want to, save a little time, use somebody else's placard or maybe a family member to sneak into a handicap spot. Don't do it. It's very, very expensive. This is assigned to you. You have to be in the car for this thing to be in force. You have to leave the car and you have to come back to the car. Okay, couple more things before I close with real ID. I don't know if you folks are familiar with the move over law. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. It started last July. The only thing you have to remember about the move over law is when you are out driving on the expressways and you see flashing lights, people off to the side, it could be state trooper, it could be anybody that's distressed on the side of the road. Sure you remember what happened a couple of years ago when we had a succession of state troopers who lost their lives that were hit by oncoming vehicles. Well, we now have, as a result of that, we have the move over law, started last July. The two most important things you have to remember about this when you come up in any emergency situation, first thing is you have to slow down. Slow down as much as you can. The next thing, you have to move over, try to get over to the next lane away from the emergency vehicle or the emergency situation. So two things. You can get a ticket for this as well. So be careful, state troopers are out there. Again, slow down as much as you can and then get over and proceed with caution. Also, with construction zones, when it says 45 miles an hour, it says 45 miles an hour. Even if it's a Sunday and they're not working, don't take a chance. If it's 45, try to stay close to that as you're going through. A friend of mine a couple of years ago got a ticket on a Sunday morning in Will County going through a construction zone at 70 miles an hour. The ticket cost him $700. Okay, so you want to stay as close to that speed limit as possible, 7 days a week, and I don't care what time it is. Okay, so one more thing. We're gonna close with real ID. Okay, you've been hearing a lot about real ID the last year and a half or so. First of all, what is it? I mean, what is it? Why is it important? What does it mean to us? First of all, I like to explain it so people know what it is. The Real ID Act is actually not new. It was passed in 2005 in the aftermath of 9/11. And the reason they did it was to increase airport security and reduce the amount of fraud. That was back in 2005. And after all the extensions and delays and this and that, it took years to get here, but it's finally here. And this is coming from the federal government. And it's a federal mandate that we all have to adhere to, everybody in every state. And all this is saying is that in order to fly domestically in this country or to enter any federal building or any federal institution, correctional center, Army base, Navy base, you will have to have this on your license or on your ID card by October 1st of 2021. You'll have to have this designation on your license or ID card. If you're still driving, then I would put it on the ID card. They will put a star in the upper right-hand corner, will make you federally compliant. and then you'll have no problem. You have plenty of time on this. Let's go. The other part of this, and really the most important part, is documents. They want everybody to bring in all the documents. So basically, we all have to do it. So we're all starting over. So I want to start with the first group. If you have to bring a birth certificate or a passport. If you have a passport, valid U.S. passport, then you don't need the real ID. If you have a birth certificate, bring the birth certificate. The other thing I want to tell you is that real ID is not mandatory. You don't have to do this. I mean, I urge all people to do it. It's easy to do. When you come in for renewal, bring your documents. We'll renew your license, your ID card, and we'll also upgrade it. You only have to do it one time. You'll never have to do it again. But it is optional. It's not mandatory. You don't have to do it. Maybe you're one of those people that has a fear of flying or whatever. But I want you to know that it is not mandatory. But I really would urge you to do it, and not have to carry a passport around, or maybe a situation will come up when you may have to fly. You want to be able to have the right designation, so you'll be able to do that. So bring the birth certificate or passport. Now, for you ladies out there, if you do not have a passport and you decide to use a birth certificate and you have been married, along the line anywhere, you're going to have to bring in a marriage license. That's written here in this first paragraph at the bottom. So if you don't have a passport, you don't bring the passport in. Passport gives us your current name. Birth certificate, your married name are obviously going to be different. So they want to see a marriage license as well. So you're going to bring your birth certificate and your marriage license. The men, you don't have to do that. You can bring the birth certificate or the passport. Group 2, they want to see a Social Security card, the card, not a copy, not anything like that. Can't just walk in and give them a number. They want to see the card. You can also use a W-2. It's got your Social Security number on there. Yeah, if you're getting Social Security, you can use that form that comes at the end of the year, the SSA 1099 form, and that's also got your Social Security number on there, so you can use that too. Now you can also use a pay stub. I don't know, and if you're still working, it might have the Social Security card. Most seniors that I talk to are already retired, so they usually use the Social Security cards or the W-2 or the Social Security form. Last thing you have to do in the Real ID, you have to bring 2 proof of residence. There's a whole list of stuff here. Some of the easier stuff is a bank statement. You can bring a voter's card. You can bring a major credit card statement. You can use anything if you're getting a retirement. You can use that. I said voter's card. Utility bills are outstanding. Homeowners insurance. There's a whole list of stuff here. Now, I run into situations where with a lot of senior couples, they they share an account. Maybe all the bills are coming to one person. So a lot of times seniors share bank accounts. Well, you can use that. That counts for one each. You can use a shared bank account. Sometimes you might share a gas bill, electric bill. You might, if you don't, maybe another mortgage or something where you're both on there, or if it's a renting situation, you're both on the lease. That's fine. You can bring those. We're looking for 2 each. So voters cards are pretty easy too, and that will solve the problem as well. So Back to the beginning, birth certificate or a passport. Again, if you have a passport, you don't need this. You don't need it. Social Security, 2 forms of residence, and that's it. Real ID, not real complicated. Again, you've got a lot of time. You've got till next October. If you're going in for renewal in the next few months, 3 or 4 months, you can do it while you're there. If if you're not renewing till next year, sometime you can hold off. You're better off. Facilities are very, very crowded right now. So if you don't have to go in there, then don't. But if you do, then they'll take care of whatever you need, including real ID. That is it for me, folks. I'd like to. That concludes the Rules of the Road review course. Thank you for joining me today, and good luck to all of you on all your tests. And have a great day. Thank you very much. Anybody still there?
Yeah, Steve, everyone's still in here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention, if anybody has any questions, I could answer them right now. I'm sorry.
Hang on, let me. Caroline, Drusilla, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and type them into the chat box. All right, if there are no. Steve, Drusilla is asking if she's disabled and not a senior, will she get priority in line?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Anything else, guys? Drusilla or Caroline? Yeah, so it's like Steve says, you're fine. You'll get priority in line.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Drusilla. I think we don't have any more questions, so we're going to go ahead and end this chat.
Ariella, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Ariana,
Ariana, thank you.
And thank you for doing the being able to give everybody the certification that they normally get at the library. And like these are rough times. It's still very appreciated that you guys were able to do this via Zoom. And we also, if you needed to like get this again, like any extra information, we will have it up on our Facebook page. If you guys need to double check anything, just to let you guys know.
Sounds good. Okay, thanks again, guys.
Thank you very much.